It's the Third Street Podcast.
Are we live?
Welcome back to the Third Street Podcast with your boys from the 86th.
What do you
How y'all
mean,
doing?
welcome back? This is the first episode.
Okay, well, it's all about consistency. It'll be welcome back from now on. So now that we've gotten that out of the way.
This motherfucker.
How are you guys doing? What's new?
Worse
Good.
now.
Glad that I made it.
I just found out that.
Glad that I made it to this meeting of the minds today.
All right. Well, if that's how good everyone's doing, let's make you feel a little worse by testing your knowledge of some very basic, common knowledge rock and roll trivia that you guys are going to fucking suck at.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, which band had a number one hit titled "A Wider Shade of Pale"? You're not going to get that one. We're going to cut that out.
I was like, I don't know.
I looked at the
bro.
answer and I was like, I don't even know who that is.
Who was it?
Procol Harum.
I would never have gotten that.
Where are you getting these?
It's just a bunch.
This is a Swedish site.
Estin's on the dark web.
All right, an easy one. Bon Scott's the lead singer of which rock
AC/DC.
group? God damn it.
He's dead.
And it would be was.
Yeah, not current.
It's fair. That's fair.
Sloppy ass.
Brian Johnson isn't a lead singer, is he? Isn't he deaf?
He's not anymore.
Yeah,
He's-
he just played a huge rock. They just played a huge Power Trip festival in California,
Oh, really?
Wow.
like last month.
I know that for a while Axl Rose had to step in for him
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he was going deaf.
Which is crazy because
Damn, Axl Rose.
Axl
Dude.
Rose
He's terrible.
sucks.
Well,
Also
This
really-
was
Hey,
also
man,
like
whatever.
5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
He actually sounded not bad.
yeah, Axl Rose ain't bad. I mean, he's
They were in Denver
he's
last
aging.
week.
He's just old.
He's old.
Dude sang some high notes, right?
Yeah.
I can
Pretty
imagine
crazy
it's-
guy
it's
too. I
hard to
mean,
still sing.
One of the singers.
one of the singers of all time.
One of the singers of all time.
A lot of these are shitty or
I do too.
When I lived in Florida, Brian Johnson has a huge mansion in Sarasota, and we would ride our bikes past it. And
That's cool.
You could just like see the mansion off in the distance. Just a long ass driveway with trees everywhere.
That's sick.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
dang.
All right,
Rock and roll
This was
legend
Brian
is
Johnson?
inside that house. Yep.
I got one for
Did you ever
you.
hear in the distance like, "You kids get off my lawn"? Yeah, like I can't.
Get off my lawn!
No, I didn't.
I got
wish
one
I
for you,
would've, though.
Beatles boy. Who's the youngest Beatle?
George Harrison.
I think it is George Harrison.
You guys suck. It is George.
Yeah.
Harrison.
I watched a documentary a long time ago.
What year was John Lennon shot?
1980.
Whoa.
Dude.
Damn. He's a Beatles fan.
I do like the Beatles.
Favorite
Did you listen to the new
favorite
song they
Beatles
released today?
album.
I didn't. I didn't even know it was a thing. Sorry.
It's
I'm
super
not-
cool.
Okay.
Very
Favorite,
cool.
Favorite Beatles album. Go.
I'm going to go with Rubber Soul.
Really good.
Great album.
It's Abbey Road for me.
They're all pretty good,
Dude,
but that one's solid.
Is so white chick of you.
Come on, dude.
Uh,
I'm the whitest guy here.
Mm, I think
Okay.
it's between you and Zach. Zach has red.
Reddish, right?
Are you talking
know what I
white
mean?
personality wise or actual skin tone wise?
Both. Both need to be counted.
henceforth, you need to.
Personality wise, it's got to be Zach, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Wyatt's got a little ghetto in him.
I do enjoy the
does.
rap.
This guy.
What else you got, Estin?
I don't know, man. All these suck. I need to do a little more research.
Yeah,
on-
this is
on-
terrible.
on the trivia. Here.
Terrible.
Hey.
Okay.
Here we go.
You guys know what year the Rolling Stones released their first album?
1967.
It's a good guess.
I was gonna say 68.
6?
4?
1964 is correct.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Good guess. John.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you know that?
I figured it was around the same time as kind of when did the Beatles break up, or when did they start? 63.
The Beatles, they were like late 50s that they were kind of, I think they were late 50s that they were forming, but they didn't really make it big in America till around like 63 or so.
They went and did all that ayahuasca.
Well, that was later.
They did LSD like straight up.
Isn't that ayahuasca?
When did they break up?
The Beatles broke up probably mid 70s. It was probably like after, I don't know what their last album was. Was it like Sgt. Pepper's?
I think it was
I don't even know.
Let It Be.
Was it? It
Mhm.
might have been. I know it was like mid 70s because that's when John Lennon started dating Yoko and all that.
Ugh.
All went downhill from there, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, I love Yoko Ono.
Yucky Ono.
Mm.
She broke him up, man.
I
Fuck that
love
bitch.
it.
You ever seen that?
love
You ever
anime,
seen that
dude.
video of the Beatles with like what's his name, Chuck Berry, or something
yeah,
like that?
well,
and then
where
Yoko's
Yoko
like,
Ono- She's fucking
just,
screaming.
Josh,
like-
it was
and
in
then the
fact
sound
Let
guy
It
just
Be.
turned her mic off.
Yeah.
It was.
God damn it.
Had to do a quick fact check.
Yeah. That documentary that came out last year, it has a ton of footage of them jamming with Chuck Berry and Yoko just singing nonsense in the background.
Shit's so fucking.
All right, I got another one. You guys should get, but I wouldn't have probably got it. What was Aerosmith's first #1 single?
What's the one that Run DMC did?
No, that's too late in their career.
Walk This Way.
Their
is the
first
one that
number
Run
one,
DMC
not their
did.
first single, but the first #1 single.
Yes, their first #1 single.
Wait.
Walk This Way.
It's not correct.
I'm gonna go with. It had to have been on.
Sweet Emotion.
Nope.
Was
Back in the
it
Saddle?
Mamakin?
No.
Hold on. What's the one that Slim did? Dream
On.
Yeah, Dream
No,
On.
that was later in their.
No, see,
career.
that would have been my guess, but it's not.
Damn. What is it?
I don't want to miss a thing.
Oh,
that was
but,
later
from the movie for Independence Day, huh?
What? No, that was Armageddon.
Or Armageddon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
Yeah. Wow, I was thinking it was like way earlier than that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but you got to think. Aerosmith is kind of one of those bands that got way more popular later, right?
Aerosmith is a good band, dude.
They are
They-
ridiculously
fantastic.
Like if you dig into that discography, man, there's some good shit in there.
Mhm.
good. I guess #1 single. I was thinking just that's a big thing to accomplish.
Yeah.
So.
We'll end it with this one. Do you guys know the title of Queen's debut album?
Killer Queen.
Queen.
It is self-titled. It's just Queen.
It's just Queen. Okay,
I hate.
I don't like Queen either.
I think they're pretty good.
Too bad about Freddie
I
Mercury.
think they're a little overrated. I mean, don't give me. Hold on. Let
Yeah.
me back up.
I agree.
Let me back up.
Oh,
Bad way to die.
I think Freddie Mercury is a damn good vocalist.
Maybe one of the best ever.
I'm just not a big fan of their like style of music.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't like the musical approach that
The
they took.
the theatrical.
Yeah.
It's all, but it is also cool
That's
that
just
Brian
not
May
shit
like
that I like listening to.
Brian May made his own guitar.
Yeah, and he had some of the most killer tone that
Doesn't he
nobody
play
can
with a
replicate.
coin?
He did.
read
I
that
think he
they
did,
played
yeah.
With a coin.
Is that right? I thought it was
Yes.
Iommi that did that.
Maybe they both did.
Maybe.
I don't know, but
Because it
he
makes
definitely
it
did.
it makes it squeak a little bit.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, he had this tone that nobody's ever gotten.
Nobody's ever gotten it because there's only one of those guitars ever.
Right.
What kind of amps did he play through?
I think Vox.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I think in your opinion on Queen, you will be in the minority.
That's fine.
You know,
I don't
just-
care.
I'm in the minority of almost all music.
Speaking of shitty music tastes, what are you listening to right now?
Well,
That's a good segue. You can't
Yeah.
deny it. That was a good segue.
I'm right there.
uh,
I'm already thinking about Poet Society.
I've been listening to a lot of hip hop. A lot. I had to get off the rock and roll kick for a while.
I do like
So-
the hip hops.
Yep.
The hippity hops.
Dude, Killer Mike. I've been on a big Killer Mike kick.
Killer Mike is legit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big hip hop guy.
Killer Mike rips, dude.
Killer Mike is sweet.
Run the Jewels. So good. Let's see. What else have I been listening to? Ren, the guy I was telling you guys about last week, that English like rapper kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know really what to call him, but he's sick.
A very unique style.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Yellow Wolf. I've always loved Yellow. Yeah, a lot of hip hop, and then Dead Poet Society just dropped their 4-song EP that is part of their next full-length record coming out like July or January 20th or something. That slaps.
Pretty darn
It's
good.
pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
I was very pleased to realize that it is part of a bigger project.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a complete idea yet.
Right.
No, yeah,
Mm.
but it's dope.
Yeah.
It's been stuck in my head. The first song on it, or it's not the first single they put out. It's the third or fourth. The I Can't Love You, or Why Do I Love You? Something about love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just came. Yeah.
That was
How
the one.
how could I love you? Yeah.
How Could I
Yeah.
Love You?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
That's a good one.
It's
That-
really good.
That pre-chorus, I would love to write a pre-chorus. The pre-chorus is what is got caught in my head. Is it rivals the actual chorus?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The syncopation with like the
Mhm.
dun dun
Mhm.
dun dun with the vocals.
Well, and the very last chorus.
Love it.
Where they just go full, the whole band, and it's full tempo, because
Yeah.
the rest of the choruses are all half tempo. They go full tempo in that last chorus. So good, dude. That band has a way of creating sounds that I've never heard before. They're like very like minute details of sounds that unless you listen 3 or 4 times you don't pick it up.
Mhm.
And you're like, whoa, how did they even get that? But they've done that since the beginning.
Yeah.
There's sounds in all of their music that I'm like, holy shit, that's cool.
It's got
See-
very good production. It sounds.
Yeah,
That's my
it's
comment.
very
Is the
good.
production is very, very good.
I even looked up the producer today and didn't recognize his name at all.
Mm.
But yeah, they rip. Hurt is
Hurt
one of
was
my. That is
So good.
maybe the best rock and roll I've found since Royal Blood's second album, in my opinion.
They have a lot in this on these 4 songs that remind me of Royal Blood.
Totally.
Yeah, it
I was
reminded
gonna
me a
say-
lot of that too.
They're a little harder hitting.
Mhm.
Like
Well,
a lot
so-
more in your face than Royal Blood is.
They get for one, they have just a little bit more full sound because they're
Full band.
full
They're like
band.
5 or 6 piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was telling Wyatt earlier that it reminded me when in the How Could I Love You song, in the first verse, the bass and guitar play the same thing, they sync up, and you get that same tone that like Royal Blood does, and that
Mm.
where you're like, is that a bass or is it a guitar? Because it's deep,
Right.
but it's like
Yeah,
distorted.
I'm curious as to what tuning they play because they sound like they're pretty detuned.
And also,
Sounds like
their-
B to me.
Yeah,
their
it's
bass
it's deep.
guitar always has distortion on it.
It's one of those weird like fuzzy vocal bands like the Black Keys or
Yeah,
Royal Blood. You know what I mean? It's like I was asking Estin about it. I couldn't figure out what to call that. You know what I mean? You know those bands like
Yeah,
Arctic
yeah.
Monkeys too.
Yeah, it's just
well,
kind of like
What do you call that vocal effect?
Reverb, a lot of it.
there's a lot
Like
of
hella.
effect on it in
I was
general.
gonna say, but
Like
when you
plugins and
when
shit,
you really
right?
listen to it, it's like you just get like undertones of it's like heavy reverb, but they put it way in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You get like a little bit of fuzz on the vocal, and you put it like underneath. It's like
it's like a mic at the
Right.
way
Well,
back of
they
the room.
tend-
it, like,
It's-
around the
it's like a
vocal to give it
lasagna.
this, like whole
He's the widest guy in the band. He is
like a-
the widest guy in the band.
Honestly, I think they were good. I've only been listening to it since you guys kind of like tipped me off to listening to it. I think it was Tannen.
Shout out Tannen.
Shout out Tannen.
Tango.
They're good. I've only listened to it a few times. Not to be a super hard music critic, Nothing was extremely memorable to me. It was good, but every song sounded very much the same. They're great. I mean, like production wise, it was incredible. They have this super industrial sound to them. The one takeaway that, like, one thing that stood out to me is the song. I hope you hate me. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Yep.
The chords in there, the dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. It sounded like aerials to me. I was just like, well, like System of a Down.
See,
it just
I
had
get some
vibes.
System of a Down vibes. Well, I think they're from LA too. I think. But you know what? Also, they remind me of, and obviously influenced by as kids, is Marilyn Manson. They get a lot of like, you
I
know
could
how
see
Marilyn
that.
Manson always had crazy weird noise,
Yeah.
and that was part of the like cool thing about Marilyn Manson was there's a lot of noises in those like whatever the trifecta records that he did. What are those ones? Superstar
like-
Jesus or whatever.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah, Antichrist Superstar. Or
Yeah,
whatever it
Antichrist
is.
Superstar. Yeah. Those records have crazy noises in them, and everything that Dead Poet Society does, cool, like just undertone noise that I love.
Yeah. So like, there's just so many things about them that are unique that like I don't know. They're just super foreign to me. I think it's just the next wave of hard rock, whatever you want to call it.
They're almost like
Genre
pop
defining.
hard rock, though.
Yeah,
Hard rock.
There's this.
They
There's
meld
this,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this kind
It's
of
like post gent almost.
wave going through like
Does
hard
it
rock
do-
music right now that all kind of sounds similar to that sound. Like them, they also kind of remind me of Muse.
Yes, I got
Um,
huge Muse vibes
yeah.
out of that.
I love
I can
Muse.
feel it.
Like new, especially newer Muse. Like that, it sounds like newer Muse for sure.
Yeah.
But like, have you ever heard of Nothing But Thieves before?
Mhm.
That kind of sounds like them.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just like that real punchy production that's like really popular in the hard rock music world
Which
right now.
I love it.
With
I
like the
love
post hardcore
production of it.
angst.
Yeah.
And like the
Yeah, I was just saying, and it. Yeah, I mean, it's like a. I don't know, an adaptation. It's a. I don't know. You will probably look back on it in 10 years and go, "No, that was that era."
Right. The thing I have a love hate relationship with that because it does sound cool and it sounds huge and punchy.
it's super modern.
It's super modern, but it makes like guitars and stuff sound
super
too-
compressed.
digital and compressed for me.
Yeah.
I do
get it,
I do
yeah.
think
That's
Dead
why
Poet
it's harder on my
Society
ear.
is they do it better than a lot of other bands though because you can hear the guitar in some songs.
And there's melody under it.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those new bands where they just have these like just open notes that they're playing and it just sounds
fuzz.
like it doesn't sound like a guitar should, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a rock band should.
Hmm.
To me.
I get what you're saying. It's more like it's not something that is exclusively a guitar. You
Right.
could make those sounds with,
Keyboard.
you could digitally make
Right.
those
Right.
sounds and it be just the same.
The other thing that I think kind of along those lines too is like they rely heavily on being super produced. So I'm sure live they're amazing, but there's probably a lot live going on that helps it out to have that produced sound, you know, like
Through a laptop.
my favorite kind of music is, you know, like good old rock and roll, like Led Zeppelin. They'd go out on stage and whatever came out, and that was it.
Yeah.
Even
Bands
if
like
it's
this today, they,
nailed.
you know,
That's my favorite though.
like if their laptop crashes.
Yeah.
But that being said, I love that kind of music. Like, you know, a band that I've been listening to a ton lately. I mean, they're super big. Bring Me the Horizon. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of their newer stuff. Same idea.
Those
Who was
guys are
the
crazy.
first band
Great songs.
to kind of capture that where because it is now its own genre. You know, the like electronically produced guitar in
Mhm.
heavy rock music is like become its own genre.
Yeah,
Who do
but-
you think was the first band? Because
I
the
think
bands
Bring Me
we
the
grew up
Horizon was
listening
on the
to-
cusp of that.
Yeah, but who
I think
was
it was
that
back
chick band?
farther than that though.
Who was that?
Oh,
chick
definitely.
band?
Like, well, I mean, if we're
Um,
going to like Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nine Inch
Okay.
Nails is probably the first one.
Yeah,
But
or
I'm
like
talking
Depeche
like-
Mode.
because
Linkin
it
Park.
started in like 2015. No,
Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
very well could be, but I'm talking the sound you're
Modern
getting
digital.
right now.
Right.
Modern digital.
I think it started with Gent,
so
man.
but it so you
like
you
that
also-
kind of really cutting edge.
Fucking
It's gonna be
Periphery.
really hard to
Periphery. Yeah.
it's gonna be really
Sugar.
hard to pinpoint who the band the first band to do that was, because it's like the arc of it makes sense. Like when you went from like your heavier metal stuff into what like Avenged Sevenfold and Five Finger Death Punch did, where they made it more poppy,
For sure.
and then you take that and go a step farther into the poppy and come back to the heavier stuff.
You just
I
made
think-
Josh very angry putting Avenged and 5 in the same
Well, I'm
sentence.
just saying.
I
I'm
just see it on my face.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like those were two very very popular bands
Yes.
that had a similar sound. That
Yeah.
But they weren't going electronic.
So I think-
sounding
no,
guitar.
I think
no,
stuff.
Periphery
I'm
was
not- I'm not
really
saying
big
they
on
were,
that
but
Yeah.
I'm saying the
because all the
arc that you see
plugins and
can be tied back to people trying to find something new and fresh and modern.
What's the girl lead
above
singer
those.
hard rock band that's been huge for like the last 5 years? They're huge.
Spirit Box.
No,
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Earlier than
Ginger?
that. No. Hard rock. I'm not talking pop punk.
In this moment,
Yes.
I hate in this moment.
In this moment, it was the first time I heard that sound. I think that because what they came out in 16,
Way
15,
before that.
16. Okay, but they got huge.
Yeah.
15, 16, somewhere around there. When I started hearing In This Moment,
They started getting more radio play around that time.
right,
But
was
they were around for a while.
when that's the farthest back trace I can go of hearing that like completely digital sounding rock and roll. That has to be one of the first ones that molded the sound today.
I'm trying to think.
There's just so many
think-
angles.
Five Finger Death Punch was
what
definitely.
about Rammstein?
Rammstein? Okay, I think we're talking about
Super-
two different things. Because if
Well, I
we're
mean,
talking about like the digital elements and implemented with the guitars and stuff, yes, for sure. But like, if we're talking about like the actual digital sounding guitars and stuff,
Then I would
really
go
compressed
Periphery.
sound. Yeah, Periphery. But like on radio, who would you say who was
On
like,
radio, so that gets a little bit harder. I think a lot of it came from like the subculture, kind of like a lot of like the post-hardcore bands kind of went off of like, you know, it was all these metalcore kids that got into early gent who then started doing post-hardcore kind of stuff and then integrating that into it slowly, and it kind of like melded into this thing. And then you have like people on a different end of the spectrum that were kind of like in the indie circles that were
Yeah.
listening to this stuff, and they're like, well, how do I do this but not make it metal?
I think you just said what I was trying to say in a much better way.
Okay.
That you have all these bands and all these kids that were influenced by all these subgenres of rock and, you know, your metal stuff, that then tried to make their own, that still had hints of all of their influences, but then that's what I was meaning by the arc makes sense, that it was like, oh, they took this influence and this influence,
right?
but that was like a gradual thing. I don't think someone went, I'm going to do this today because
Right.
I've never heard it before.
And I think it takes a lot of like growing up and maturity to look back to like where it originally started, because you got to think like a band like Dead Poet Society is probably heavily influenced by Linkin Park.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was
Avenged
because-
Sevenfold. But
Probably
Linkin
techno.
Park was probably heavily influenced by Marilyn Manson and
Nine Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails. Yeah. And so, like, all of it comes up, but there's a good chance that none of those kids realized that that was, like, their influence.
Right.
You know?
Totally.
And that's again what I was trying to say was that they also don't realize that they created this new influential genre.
Right.
Just like Linkin Park didn't know that it was their sound was groundbreaking. Maybe they did. They were pretty
Cutting
they were,
edge
yeah,
new
they
metal.
were like the first band to mix the kind of hip hop and the metal.
Fred Durst, baby boy.
Oh,
Fred
you're
Durst.
right. You're right. See, but still, but that was an era.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't say no one does it anymore, but it's not like a mainstream.
Well, it kind of died, but it might come back just
Sect.
like pop punk is back all of a sudden.
Oh, it
Right.
it definitely will. I mean, it just literally like anything else.
There's
Well, it
just so
seems like
many
music
things.
New
goes in
metal.
20-year cycles.
Yeah, and there's so many things that I mean, we could sit here all night and touch on things that like affect music today, like Dead Poet Society. Other things that come to mind that haven't even hardly come up. I mean, we're talking about like early like 2010s techno. You know, like techno music in general really
It's
drove
huge.
rock in
Yeah,
a
it was
way
huge.
that we can't really quite fathom.
Well, it killed
Right.
rock and roll
and then
for a
do you
while.
do you remember like in like 2008
And-
everybody was like steampunk?
And maybe
And I feel like
that's-
there's like that industrial kind of flavor coming
Yeah.
back into things.
And maybe that's the biggest driving factor, but behind this more fabricated guitar sound was that you had this genre of like EDM dance music that
Oh yeah.
overtook the world and quote unquote killed rock and roll to where rock and roll went, well, let's incorporate it.
You can't kill
And-
the
and
rock
bring
and
it
roll
back.
if we make it rock and roll.
And
Right.
that did happen for a while.
Yeah.
And then now you're just getting out of it to where you still have the remnant, you still have that influence from it, but it's not super apparent.
One thing that we have talked about as a band is like with everything coming back, it all sounds cool, but everything still right now feels super overproduced.
Mhm.
Like it's
To me, that's a turnoff. But
right,
I
but
mean, it's cool. But
you're like a true rock and roll fan. You're a fan of every decade of rock and roll. I don't think a lot of people are. And right now, it's just like there's an overproduction side of things that I think the like perfectly produced sound is gonna start coming back too.
yeah,
Like just a raw band playing, but well produced, is going to come back. Just like pop punk is right now. It's just pop punk was always kind of underproduced, and
that
now
was the
it's
flavor
back,
to
but
it.
it's overproduced. You know,
I could see that. I mean, it's literally what happened with country music. You went from,
Mhm.
being like acoustic traditional country, then you got this pop country that came in mixed with hip hop. Now your biggest country artists in the world are back to an acoustic guitar singer songwriter type.
Yep.
Well, maybe not the biggest, but they're definitely making. I mean, they definitely
Yeah,
have
Chris
their
Stapleton.
own
One
avenue.
of the top three. I mean, the top three right now are Morgan, Luke Combs, and Zach Bryan. And Zach Bryan is, as raw and acoustic sounding as it gets.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean, you had Tyler Childers and Colter Wall come in, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Chris
that
Stapleton.
yeah. Well, Chris Stapleton, but
Kind
he's
of a
still
rock.
full band bluesy.
Yeah.
He's still got that. None of these other guys have ever done what Chris Stapleton has.
True.
But he is more of
But
like
he
the
can do
traditional
both.
kind
You
of.
can do both.
He can do both, and that's
Yeah.
His new album comes out next week. I'm so stoked. Mm-hmm.
come back next week, and we'll probably be talking.
Okay,
about,
so should we do like ratings on
We're
this?
getting-
Like Dead Poet Society, what would you rate that?
I don't think we do ratings. I think we just
All
discuss it.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great. I think it's great 4 songs.
yeah,
Hurt is, I mean, was it the lead single or was it the second single that came out?
I didn't even know.
I think Running
They were
in
coming out new
Circles was their
material.
first.
running in circles and hurt, and then the I
They
hate you
both
song
came out at the same
and
time,
How yeah,
which
Maybe-
is starting to be a new thing.
we got Dead Poet Society. Their new 4 singles. We give them and I give it
Hell yeah, brother! Oh, he's
Pretty,
giving it.
pretty okay.
Wow.
You got 4 out of 5 dogs.
a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
It's,
Four and
it's,
a half
it's
out of
pointing
5.
kind of up though. You know,
I'm gonna say
Dead
that
Poet Society. I would put this microphone in my mouth for you.
I don't dislike it.
I love it.
I'm gonna say this to just put the period at the end of this little deal. Dead Poet Society. That song, "How Could I Love You," has been stuck in my head for the past 3 days, like you wouldn't believe.
Mm.
And that, in my book, if you can write a song, put out a song that gets stuck in my head, is a success for me.
Fair enough.
Is
Fair enough.
Yeah,
is Hurt your favorite off the
those are
record
my boys.
so far?
Either that one. Actually, you know what? My favorite one is the third one.
Running in Circles.
Running in Circles is my favorite. Yeah.
My least favorite.
Or the first one actually.
How Could I Love
How Could I Love You?
Damn,
it's-
Hurt. Man, I thought Hurt was just such a good opening
It's-
single for that.
It's a close second because that chorus is phenomenal.
And I like that they have influences of hip hop in Hurt. I'm a big hip hop guy. I love that he kind of skittledee bops the verses, and I like it.
All right, what's your guys' take on ska?
Nope.
Down.
Depends on the band.
I think it's
Nope.
pretty good.
I do like No Doubt. I do like No Doubt.
I like
doubt.
the Mighty
No
Mighty
doubt,
Bossa
no doubt,
Notes.
No doubt. No doubt.
No doubt, no doubt.
I've never had
I actually
to
been
knock on wood, but I know the one that has, which makes me wonder if I should.
Could.
There's like a description of ska. It's like a kid with like a fucking. If you were to describe ska to someone, it's like a kid with like a little twirly hat.
Yeah.
There's a
Just,
ska
like, doing
band.
something.
like one of
It's
those,
like a
like, little
perfect
quackers
description of a
blowing a
Hey,
kazoo.
there's a big ska
Kazoo.
band from Colorado. They were a Christian ska band.
It's not the Potato Pirates.
Nope.
But they were good too.
Okay, it's
They were good. I liked the Potato Pirates. Shout
darn,
out.
dude. I know this name. They're still playing. They play with like MXPX a lot.
Really?
Yes.
I wish-
Remember.
yeah, I
Sorry,
wish-
guys. I'll remember next week.
They were a Christian ska band
From here.
from here.
They played the Greeley Stampede like in 2004 or something.
Wow.
Well, while you think of that, let's wrap this thing up. Wyatt, number one song to listen to. Give somebody, give the people
Like,
your number
out of
one
every song.
recommendation.
number one song to listen to right now. Arcadia by Goose.
There you go. We'll see you guys. Bye bye, Tannen.
Bye bye Tannen.
Bye bye Tannen.